video lecture series. Okay, and today we are going to start with a topic which is called as lichens. Okay, so let me write it down. If you are watching this video lecture and if you have yet not subscribed to my channel, kindly do so. Please like, share, okay, and do recommend it to your friends. Anyway, let us start with the video lecture. Now, what is the meaning of lichens? Many of you might have heard the word lichens. You must be knowing what lichens are. Some of you might not be having any idea. Okay, so here we are just going to discuss in short some important aspects about lichens, what a lichen is, what is the importance. Okay, now in simple words, lichens are basically a combination of algae and fungi which are living together. So we can write it down like this, that lichens is equal to algae plus fungi. Okay, it is a symbiotic relationship between algae and fungi. Now I am using a word, okay, which is symbiotic association or symbiotic relationship. What is the meaning of symbiotic? So a symbiotic relationship or an association is a association between two organisms, okay, and that association is very close. Okay, there are different types of symbiotic relationships or associations. For example, there is mutualism, commensalism, etc. I'm going to make a separate video on that topic. So symbiotic relationship is a relationship in which the two organisms which are involved, they are very close to each other. Okay, now in this symbiotic relationship between the algae and the fungi, the thing which is occurring is called as mutualism. So let me write it down over here. Okay, what is the meaning of mutualism? So mutualism means that it is a symbiotic relationship in which both the organisms are benefited. So since the algae and fungi are staying together, the fungus is benefited because of the algae and the algae is benefited because of the fungus, and together they help each other to survive, and this relationship is called as mutualism. Alright, so lichens are nothing but algae and fungi which are living symbiotically together in an association called as mutualism. Is this clear? Many people ask, why is there no separate classification system for lichens? Okay, so if we see the different kingdoms, there is kingdom Animalia, there is kingdom Plantae, kingdom Fungi. Why is there no kingdom lichens? Because lichens is not a hybrid of algae and fungi. It is not that algae and fungi have reproduced and formed this another different type of organism. No, it is just algae and fungi which are living together. Okay, and that is why there is no separate classification for lichens. Please remember this. We do classify lichens based on their types, okay, based on the fungus which is present, based on their thallus. So all that we will be doing, but no formal classification system is there for lichens. Please remember that. Okay, so now let us start with lichens. Now the algal part which is present, okay, the algae which is present in the lichens, that algae is also called as the phycobiont. See, phyco comes from the word phycology. Phycology means study of algae, and biont means, see, any organism which is in a symbiotic relationship, we call it as a biont. Biont is any living entity which is in a symbiotic relationship. Here algae is in a symbiotic relationship with fungus, so it is called as phycobiont. Is this clear? Similarly, the fungal part of the lichen, if I only talk about the fungal part in the lichens, then it is called as a mycobiont. Alright, again the word myco comes from mycology, so if you want I will write it down. Phycology is the study of algae, whereas mycology is the study of fungus. So mycobiont is the fungal part present in lichens. Is this clear? Now algae are of many different types, okay, so that we will study later on when I make a video on that. Okay, there is green algae, there is brown algae, red algae, many different types. But in algae, in the lichens, mostly the algae which is present is the green algae, and that green algae is also called as Chlorophyceae. So I am going to write that over here, Chlorophyceae. Chlorophyceae is also called as green algae. Okay, so the algal component of the lichens is mostly chlorophyceae or green algae. Okay, and the fungal component, it can be of three types. See, fungi are further classified into four types. There is Phycomycetes, Phycomycetes. There is Ascomycetes, there is Basidiomycetes, there is Deuteromycetes. But out of these four types of fungi, again fungal classification I will make a separate video, so don't dwell too much into that right now. So depending upon the type of fungus, there are basically three types which are present. So the fungus can either belong to Ascomycetes category, okay, or it can belong to Basidiomycetes category, or it can belong to Deuteromycetes category. Okay, these are all different types of fungi. Are you getting? So we will come to this later on during the classification part of the lecture. So fungus can be any one out of three. Algae is mostly green algae, and sometimes a bacteria is also present which is called as cyanobacteria. Okay, so sometimes cyanobacteria is also present. Cyanobacteria is a nitrogen fixing bacteria. Okay, please remember that. And this cyanobacteria is also called as blue-green algae. It is not an algae. It appears blue and green in color. That is why it is called blue-green algae. So lichens can be chlorophyceae plus any of the fungus, or it can be cyanobacteria plus chlorophyceae plus any of the fungus. Is this clear? If the cyanobacterium is present, then it helps in nitrogen fixation, which will help the algae in photosynthesis. Is this clear? Now we come to the most important part. How is the algae helping the fungi to survive, and how is the fungus helping the algae to survive? See, they are in a mutualistic relationship. They are helping each other. So how are they helping each other? For that, I have already drawn a diagram. Let us come to that diagram, and that is over here. Now this diagram is basically a simple diagram showing lichen. So if you see over here, these yellow colored areas which you see, these are basically the fungal hyphae. Okay, so if people who are watching the video, they are not aware, the fungus body is basically made up of two important parts. The body, the entire body is called as mycelium. Okay, so if you want, I will sketch over here. Just imagine that I am drawing a fungus. Alright, if this is the main body, this is called as mycelium, and from the mycelium there are thread-like structures which arise. So these thread-like structures, they are called as hyphae, and this group of hyphae or the main body is called as mycelium. Obviously there are spores which are present on hyphae. I am not going into that detail. So hyphae are basically the thread-like structures which together form the entire mycelium or the fungus. Okay, so these yellow colored areas are the individual hyphae which are present. So the yellow and brown area is the fungus part. The green cells which you can see over here, okay, these are your algal cells. Okay, these are the cells of the algae, green in color, chlorophyceae or green algae. Now if you see, the fungal hyphae are basically penetrating the algal cells. They are inserted into the algal cells. So how is this relationship going on? Very simple. The algal cells, they undergo photosynthesis. Okay, so if you want, I will write down over here. They have got chloroplasts, and the function of chloroplast is photosynthesis. So the algal cells will produce carbohydrates. It is a source of food, and this carbohydrates will be shared with the fungus. So fungus is getting free food from the algae. Now what is the fungus going to do? So what happens is, these fungal hyphae which are present, okay, these fungal hyphae, they help in absorption of mineral and water, and that mineral and water is shared with the algae. So algae is getting free mineral and water. Also remember, the algal cells are in lesser quantity, fungus is more in quantity. So algal cells are present inside the fungal hyphae. So they are surrounded by the fungal hyphae on all sides. So they also get protection from the fungus. So in this way, both the organisms are benefited, and hence this is a mutualistic relationship. Okay, and that is called as lichens. I hope this part is clear. Okay, so this diagram shows how both of them are helping each other. It also shows how both of them are present together, and this association is called as lichens. Okay, now the next part that I wanted to tell you was about classification of lichens. Alright, So classification of lichens, there is no formal classification as such. However, we can classify alkanes based on two types. The first classification is based on the type of fungus which is present. Alright, so let me again go back to the initial screen. Alright, and let me rub this off so that we can start with the next part, which is classification of lichens. Alright, so the first classification is classification based on the mycobiont. Okay, so it is the classification based on the fungal component. Very simple. I have already told you there are three different types of fungi which can be present. So the first type of lichens is when there is algae plus Ascomycetes. Okay, Ascomycetes is one of the types of fungus. Now this lichen which is formed when Ascomycetes is present, such a lichen is called as ascolichens. Okay, so I will write down over here ascolichens. Very simple. When the fungal component is Ascomycetes, the lichen is called as ascolichens. Second type of lichen is when algae is present and Basidiomycetes is the fungus. What will be the name? Can you guess? So it is Basidiolichens. Very simple. Third type of lichen based on the mycobiont is algae plus fungus, which is belonging to Deuteromycetes category. So this lichen is called as Deuterolichen. Very simple. So based on the mycobiont which is present, you can classify lichens into three types. Extremely sorry. What is the first one? Ascolichens if Ascomycetes is present, Basidiolichens if Basidiomycetes is present, and Deuterolichens if Deuteromycetes is present. Very simple. Okay, I am assuming that in all these three cases, the algae which is present is belonging to Chlorophyceae. Cyanobacteria may or may not be present. It does not matter. Okay, so this is the first criteria of classification. Phycomycetes is also a type of fungus, but it is never present in a lichen. Okay, so all those who are thinking what about phycolichens? Phycolichens are not present because Phycomycetes doesn't form a symbiotic association with algae. So phycolichens are not there. Now coming to the second type of classification. Okay, the second classification is based on the thallus, the structure of the thallus. Now first of all, what is this word? What is the meaning of thallus? Okay, so if you see the body of the lichens, then the body of the lichens is called as a thallus, or it is also called as a thalloid body. What is the meaning of thalloid body? A thalloid body is a vegetative body which is not differentiated into root, stem and leaves. Please remember. So vegetative body which is not differentiated into roots, stem and leaves. So normally when we talk of plants have these three parts, root, stem and leaves, but a thallus is a body which is not having these parts. So it is not a very developed plant. I hope you get this point. Okay, so in the structure of lichens you will not find roots, you will not find stem, you will not find leaves, and such a body, such a vegetative body is called as a thallus, or it is called as a thalloid body. Okay, another example of organisms which have a thalloid body are bryophytes. Okay, they are also present in kingdom Plantae. They have a thalloid body. Algae have a thalloid body. Lichens also have a thalloid body or thallus. Root, stem and leaves are absent. Okay, now coming to the second type of classification. So the second classification is based on structure of the thallus. Okay, so now we have already seen the first classification based on the mycobiont which is present. The second classification of lichens is based on the type of thallus which is present or the structure of thallus. Now please pay attention over here. Okay, I have sketched three different types of lichens based on their thallus. Okay, so again let me write down the heading. This is second classification type, classification based on structure of thallus. Is this clear? Okay, so you can see in these three diagrams the structure, the thallus structure or the body structure is very different. Okay, now the first is crustose lichen, second is foliose, third is fructicose. I am going to tell you what is the difference in all these three types. Coming to the first type, which is the crustose lichens. Now crustose lichens basically grow on rocks, or they see lichens mainly grow on trees, the stem or the bark of the trees, or they grow on rocks. So crustose lichens are the lichens which grow horizontally on whichever surface they are present. So you can imagine that bread is the surface. So bread can be the surface of the rock or the stem, and when you apply butter on that bread, that butter is crustose. So crustose lichens form a single thick layer on whichever surface they are growing, either rocks or on barks or on stones. Okay, so that is called as crustose lichens. Second, we come to the type which is called as foliose lichens. Now what are foliose lichens? Now foliose lichens are also growing horizontally, but they have leaf-like structures. Okay, now I am not saying that they have leaves, I am saying they have leaf-like structures, structures which resemble a leaf, because the plant body is thalloid. Please remember, thallus doesn't have leaves. So these, you can see these green colored structures which I have drawn, these are leaf-like structures, these are lobes which are present. Again, these leaf-like structures will grow horizontal. So if this is the surface on which the lichen is growing, then these leaves will also spread in all directions, these leaf-like structures, and such a lichen is called as foliose lichen. Again, now these foliose lichens have special structures which resemble roots. Again, not roots, but root-like structures. You can see I have drawn them over here in yellow, and these parts are basically called as rhizines, R-H-I-Z-I-N-E-S. So you can say rhizines act like roots in foliose lichens. So they help this lichen to attach to the bark or the stem on which they are growing. Okay, so these are leaf-like. Again, please remember, crustose and foliose both are horizontally growing on the surface or the substratum. What is the substratum? Substratum is the surface on which that lichen is growing, that is called as substratum. Third type of lichens which I have drawn over here is called as fructicose lichen. Now this is a lichen whose thallus is growing vertical to the substratum. So if this is the surface on which it is growing, then that lichen is going to grow vertical. So this is also called as a shrubby lichen because it looks like a shrub. Okay, please remember, this is not having stem or leaves or roots. It is appearing like that. The body is thallus. So this is called as a shrub lichen, where the thallus grows vertically from the substratum or the surface where it is attached. Again, these small structures, they might appear like branches or stem, but they are not. This is called as fructicose lichen. So you can see in all these three types, the thallus is very different, and based on these different thalloid structures, the lichens are classified into crustose, foliose and fructicose. So here we complete this part of classification. We have seen classification based on the type of mycobiont or the fungus which is present. We have seen the classification based on the structure of thallus. Okay, so we have basically completed with lichens. Now we come to the last part, and that last part is what is the economic importance of lichens. All right, so since we have studied so much about lichens, there must be some economic importance, or there must be some ecological importance. So let me write it down: ecological importance of lichens. Now there are two main ecological aspects which are there with respect to lichens. The first one is they are basically pollution indicators. Very important point to remember. So I will write it down. These are pollution indicators. What do you mean by pollution indicators? So basically lichens cannot grow in polluted areas. Please remember, Normally places where you can find lichens, these areas do not have any pollution or they have very little amount of pollution. Okay, so in heavily polluted cities like Mumbai or Delhi or Kolkata, or even in medium polluted cities or areas, you will not find lichens. So if you find lichens growing on rocks or trees, that means that area is relatively pollution free. Please remember that. So they can indicate how much pollution is present in that area. That is the first ecological importance. The second is, these organisms are pioneers, okay, which help in growth of other plant species. Now this is again a very important point. Now first of all, what is the meaning of pioneer? Pioneer is anybody who does something for the first time. Okay, that person or that thing is called as a pioneer. So what do lichens do? See, basically in areas which are barren, which do not have any vegetation, no vegetative life, so in these areas where the rocks are present, these lichens grow on rocks. Okay, so the lichens will grow in areas where there is no vegetation present, they will grow on rocks. And what happens is, these lichens basically secrete number of acids. Okay, among them I will write down one of the acids. Okay, I will write down oxalic acid. So this is one of the many acids which is secreted by these lichens, and this oxalic acid, what it helps in? It helps in breaking down of the rocks, or it helps in weathering of the rocks. Okay, weathering is breaking down of rocks. And what happens when the rocks get weathered? Soil is formed. So lichens are very useful, or they are very important in the process of soil formation. Please remember this. Okay, and obviously it takes a lot of time, it takes thousands of years for this to happen, but because soil is present, other plants can grow in this soil. If soil would not have been present, other plants would not have been able to grow. So lichens are pioneers. They are the first organisms which are helping in formation of soil and thereby helping in the growth of other plants. Are you getting this point? So these are the two important points. Lichens have many other uses, okay, but these are the two important ecological important points. So friends, with that we have completed this topic on lichens. I hope you have understood the lecture. Once again, I would like to repeat, if you have yet not subscribed to my channel and you are watching this video, please subscribe, comment, share it with your friends, okay, and thanks a lot.